Hi everyone, myself Navyatha Ravi, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Cybersecurity and Data Science in MLR Institute of Technology. Today I am going to discuss about Structured Query Language, SQL. So, the overview of presentation includes set manipulation constructs, nested queries and correlated nested queries. In our previous session, we have dealt about the basics of SQL, how to write the basic SQL queries, and by using multiple relations, how to represent those queries. In this session, let us discuss some more important points, concepts. So, here SQL provides three set manipulation constructs, right? Those three basically those three includes union, intersection and except. So, union represented by the symbol U, intersection represented by inverted U and except which is represented by minus symbol. So, these are the three set manipulation constructs. Let us discuss with union. So, union operator is used to combine the result of two or more select statements. So, if at all we used to combine the information between the two tables, we use union operator, right. So, if by combining those two statements, we will get some particular kind of data, and if the data contains, same names or same numbers, those same numbers must be represented only once, right. For example, so it removes duplicate rows between the various select statements, just now which I have explained. If at all, I got the same information XYZ and XYZ. So, by using union operation, this XYZ will be displayed only once. And each select statement within the union must have the same number of fields in the result sense with the similar data type. That means we must have same number of fields between the two tables which we have unite together. So, the syntax of union operator will be represented as. So, here we use multiple select statements. Multiple means two, right? Two or more. So, this select statement has been represented for one table and this select statement has been represented for another table, and we used to unite these two tables. That is our main motive, right. So, here select expression 1 is nothing but which represents the column names, column 1, column 2, column 3 like that, from the table name where condition, if at all possible, we represent the condition. Union, we have to unite the above table with the second table, select the column names from table name. So, let us discuss this one with an example. Let us consider the Silas table, SID, SName, which consists of, just here I have represented the schema, that is nothing but the design of the database, Silas data, right. Next, board table contains three columns, BID, BName, color, and results table contains SID, BID, day. So, here you can see the underline that represents what? The primary key of that particular table, that means which have unique values, clear. Next, let us deal this one with an example. Find SIDs of sailors who have reserved red or green boat. That is, I want SIDs of sailors. I want SIDs. SIDs of what? Sailors who reserved what? Red or green boat. That means the color, whether SID has been in Silas table, right. Reserves, who reserves means we have to visit reserves table to see which sailor has been reserved the boat. But the color has been in these two tables, no, right. So, we must definitely visit boats table also to see the color, right. So, the main thing is, so instead of large volumes of data, how many tables that we have to visit. So, this will be understood by understanding the query, clear. So, what I want here? SID, S.SID. Why? Because here what is S here? Silas yes, boats B, reserves R. These are the three variables that I have represented. So, select S.SID from, I have to visit all the three. Just now I told that we have to visit all the three. Why? Because SIDs are in Silas, and to know which sailor has been reserved, that to be visited the reserves table, and the color has been in boats table. So, select S.SID from all the three tables, Silas yes, boats B and reserves R from all the 3 tables. Where? Based upon which condition? Based upon which condition? See here, S dot SID must be equal to, first Sailor must reserve boat, right? Sailor must reserve boat, and the color also you have to mention. So, we have to combine all the 3 tables. We have to combine all the 3 tables. So, what are the common values here? S dot SID. SID is nothing but the common value between sailors and reserves. And what is the common value between reserves and boats? What are the common values between sailors and reserves? See, SID. What are the common values between reserves and boat? BID. So, based upon these 3 common values, these SID and BID, right? These common values we used to relate the tables here. So, from sailors yes, boats B, reserves are, where S dot SID is equal to R dot SID and R dot BID is equal to B dot BID. Why? Because we have to relate these 2 tables. If at all I want to relate 2 tables, then we must have the common columns. Clear? So, this is the condition where S dot SID is equal to R dot SID and R dot BID is equal to B dot BID, where I should combine here. And one more thing, I have to represent the condition here, who have reserved red or green boat, the color. Color has been represented only in which table? Boats table. So, and here B dot color is equal to red or B dot color is equal to green. So, this is the way, one way of representing the query. But here we are dealing with union, intersection operators, right? So, by using these logical operators, we can able to write the query. By using union operator, how we should able to represent. So, here what is the thing here? Select, we want SID from sailors who have reserved red boat. First. We are uniting this one, the sailors who have reserved green boat. We are uniting. Why? Because here they have mentioned red or green boat. That is nothing but the sailor who can reserve red boat or green boat. Not both the boats. We are not dealing with the sailor must reserve both red and green boats. Either red or green. We are uniting. Clear? In this way we used to represent. Next, the intersect operator. So, here this comes under, what is intersection? Intersection, the common values has been retrieved. That means, if at all sailors, I want the names of sailors who reserved both red and green boat. That means, compulsorily the sailor names I want to retrieve who have reserved both red and green boat. So, by using intersect operator, we can able to represent the same form. However, the union has been represented in the same manner, we can able to represent the intersect and operator also. So, find the SIDs of sailors who have reserved red and green boat. By using general normal operators, logical operators, we can able to represent it with AND operator. Clear? But we are dealing with what? The operators, the extension operators of in SQL, that is nothing but intersect. So, here select S dot SID. I want SIDs who have reserved red boat as well as and who have reserved green boat. That is what here we have intersection has been used. Next, except. So, here except operator is used to return all the rows in the first select statement, right, from which will be excluded from the second table. That means, in simplest manner, what is this meant for? A minus B. That means, we are excluding, we are eliminating B elements from A. We are eliminating B elements from A. That is what except is meant for. That means, the first select statement data will be displayed. See here, let us discuss this one with an example, the same example. Find the SIDs of sailors who have reserved red boat but not green boat. That means, I have to print the sailors who have reserved red boat except green boat, right. So, select S dot SID from sailors, yes, both B reserves are where, as I have already said, to combine 2 tables, right, we used to have some common column between those 2 tables. So here S dot SID, R dot SID must be equal, and R dot BID as B dot BID must be equal, and B dot color is equal to red, except who have reserved green board. Why? Because I want the sailors who have reserved only red board but not green board. So that is the reason I have represented except operator here. So what is the difference between these two? This is also correct. And what coming to this one, what I want here, I want SIDs, right? Only SIDs. So instead of visiting the sailors table, we can visit boats and reserves table. Here in this query, we have visited all the three tables. We have visited all the three tables, right? And I want SID. For SID only, exclusively, I have visited sailors table. But this SID has been available in reserves table. Then why to visit in sailors table again? That is the reason here which have upgraded this query. So indeed, since the reserves relation contains SID information, there is no need to look at the sailors relation. That is what the thing. So select R dot SID. Why? Because SID has been available in reserves table. No need to visit the sailors table again. So only from these two tables only we can able to retrieve our data. That is what the except operator. Next, nested queries. So what is meant by nested queries, right? So in general C language also. So if at all, nested loops, we have studied about nested loop, a loop within a loop. So what is a query? A query exists in another query. That is what nested query. Query exists, simple format. Query exists in another query. So a subquery or inner query is a query within another SQL query and embedded within where clause, where it will be available within where clause. We have three clauses, right? Select, from and where. So within where clause we used to write another query. That query is called as inner query or subquery or nested queries. Clear? So subqueries generally occur within where clause but can also appear within from and having clauses. So this having group pair clauses, let us discuss these clauses in detail in next coming sessions, right? Next, nested queries are very powerful features of SQL. By using these nested queries, we can able to write short and efficient queries. So what is the syntax? Syntax of nested queries have to represent a query within another query, right? So here select the column names from table name where. Here this is the where clause. From this, in this where clause only, this is what a nested subquery. So this is one query, this is inner query. Clear? So this part is nothing but an inner query. A query within another query is nothing but nested queries. So in nested query, the inner query runs first and only once. So here this inner query will be executed first. The inner query will be executed first and only once. Based upon the results of this inner query, the outer query has been executed, will execute. So outer query is executed with the result from inner query. Why? Because the inner query will be executed first. Based upon those results only, the outer query will be executed. So hence the inner query is used in execution of outer query. Purely. Next. Let us discuss this one with an example. Find the names of sailors who reserved boat number 103. So my motive is, I want the names of sailors. Who reserved boat number 103. Clearly, I can say that I have to visit two tables, sailors and boats. Why? Because in sailors I have SID as name, right? In some rating and age. These are the attributes. Boats, BID, B name, SID. These are the attributes. Next, reserves. Reserves table. RID. SID and or else in reserves table we must have SID, BID and some date. some date, right? So if at all we used to have these types of attributes, to combine two tables, we must have some common columns. That is what the thing. So in here I am going to deal with the nested queries. First of all, the inner query has been executed first. What is the inner query is meant for? The sailors who reserved boat number 103. So select r.sid, the sailors who reserved boat number 103. This will be executed first. And based upon this result, we used to compare with the sailors table. Why? Because I want the names of sailors, and only the sailor names will be in which table? This sailors table, not in boats and reserves table. Only in boats and reserves table we have only SIDs but not S name. Clear? So for that reason we have to visit what? Sailors table here. So this is what the nested query, by using in operator we used to represent. In, not in, these are the operators that we used to represent the nested queries. Exist, not exist. So these are some of the operators. With the help of these operators we can able to write nested queries. So first in nested query, the inner query will be executed first. Based upon this result, the outer query will be executed. So here find the names of sailors who have not reserved boat number 103. So here the inner query will be executed. That means, see the sailors who reserved boat number 103, the resultant will be displayed here and it will be compared with the sailor names. The sailor names here which will be displayed, those names will be displayed that who doesn't reserve boat number 103. The above query displays the names who reserved boat number 103. This query displays the names who reserved boat number, who doesn't reserve boat number 103. So what is correlated nested queries? So in previous example we have represented that the inner query will be executed first. Based upon that result we used to get the outer query, right? So the inner subquery has been completely independent. That means inner query will be executed first irrespective of outer query. Based upon this only the outer query will be executed. That means inner query is independent of outer query. So in general, the inner subquery could depend on the row currently being examined in the outer query. So this will be possible by using correlated nested queries. So we must correlate the inner query and outer query continuously. That is what correlated nested query is meant for. So we can make the inner subquery depend on the outer query. This is what we call as correlation. So what is here correlation nested query is nothing but in this outer query executes first, and for each and every outer query row, inner query is being executed. So in nested queries, first we will execute inner query. Based upon that result, outer query will be executed. So in correlated nested queries, first of all the outer query will be executed and the resultant, it will produce one result, right, number of rows, and each row will be compared with inner subquery. Each row of outer query will be compared with the inner subquery. That is what the thing. So in this outer query executes first, and for each outer query row, inner query will be executed. Hence, inner query uses values from outer query. So let us discuss this one with an example. Find the names of sailors who have reserved boat number 103. Here I have represented two tables, sailors and reserves. So sailors table contains 4 columns: SID, S name, rating and age, reserves, SID, BID name. Here what my task is to find the names of sailors who reserved boat number 103. So what the query I have to write? Select S name. I want names of the sailors, right? Select S name from sailors S, reserves R, right? From reserves are general query, not I am writing the general representation. I am not representing what the nested query representation or correlated nested query representation. I am writing general representation of a query from where S dot SID is equal to R dot SID. That means we have to compare first these two SIDs, right? S dot SID and R dot SID must be equal. And what is the condition here? What is the condition here? who reserved port number 103. That is R dot BID is equal to 103. Who reserved port number 103. This is what the normal representation, right? So, if at all I want to represent this one in nested query format, then what is my representation? So, here comes the exist operator. Right? Here comes the help of exist operator we used to represent the nested queries or correlated nested queries. So, what is the difference between correlation and nested? Correlation nested queries will execute outer query first. This query will be executed first, and the each and every row of this query will be compared with the inner query. That means the outer query and inner query will be correlated with each other. That is what the difference. So, select s.s name from ls where this output must exist in this inner query. That is nothing but select the whole information from reserves table where r.bid is equal to 103 and the SIDs must be equal. Then only we can able to retrieve these two. So, what will be the output here? What will be the output here? So, I want the names of sailors who have reserved boat number 103. So, first of all, I used to compare the SIDs 22, right, 31 and 58. And who reserved boat number 103? Only these two, 22, right, only 22, SID 22. What is the name of 22? Dustin. So, what will be your output? Dustin. Clear? So, till now we have discussed about the operators, what union, intersection and some of the operators in, not, in, exist. These are the operators which are used in nested queries and correlated nested queries. So, here exist operator is another set comparison operator which allows us to test whether the set is non-empty or not. Thank you.